Today we are going to tackle an interesting Leetcode problem, which is number of segments in a string. In this problem, we have a given string named S, and we have to return the number of segments in the string. A segment is defined as to be a contiguous sequence of non-spaces characters. In the other words, we want to count how many words are there in the input string. Okay, we can see in example number 1, we have input S. We have an input string, hello, my name is John, and the expected output is 5. In the explanation, they have mentioned that 5 segments are there in string, hello, my name is John. Okay, in second example, only one segment is there and the output is 1. So we can solve in many ways. In my mind, there are two solutions. First one is we can split that string, and after splitting, we can simply return the length of a string. So it will give the right answer. We can implement it in the two-liner approach, but it's not much efficient. But we can check it that whether it's correct or not. Firstly, split S, and we will just simply return the length of S just to check. Yes, it's correct, but not an efficient solution. In other approach, what we can do, we can initialize the count variable just to keep track the number of a segment. It will iterate on each character of a segment. For example, each character of a string S. For each character, it checks two conditions. First condition is first element is empty. If the first element is not empty and it's starting from 0, then we can increment in a count or a segment variable which we have initialized first. Okay, we can see there is a white spaces. Then what should we do here? We can use if condition that we can see any space before a character. That means a new word has started, a new segment has started. So it will increment in count variable. So that kind of approach we can use. So let's jump on the code and we initialize the variable count here. Then we need a for loop to iterate each character of a string for I in range length of S. We talked about two conditions, that first character should not be a space and it should be on start, and there is no space before that character. That is the condition for first iteration. And after the second iteration, or third, fourth, and fifth, maybe until we see a white space, we will change the conditions. So now we are going to deal with three conditions. If S of I is not equal to, or not equal to, we write this. Okay, there is a space, and we use and. We use and here. I should be first character, and to check that I should be first character, we initialize I with 0, that I should be equal to or equal to 0, or the third condition is on this character the previous character should be space. The previous character should be a space. Then what to do here? We just increment in count, and after the loop end, what we have to return? We have to return here count. Okay, So let's try to understand this. Firstly, we initialize count to 0. We apply the for loop on s. It will iterate through each character of a string s, and for each character it will check two conditions, basically three conditions, that first one, second one, and the third one. In if condition, it check if the current character is not a space. If the current character is not a space, then we will use two more conditions to handle the corner cases. We used this. It check if either at a first position there is a character or not. Is there any space before the character? It will check it also. This condition ensured that we only count segment when the previous character was a space or when it is a first character. That we can see here that it is a first character. Okay, condition will be satisfied, and we just count. We can increment in a count. Okay, for the other condition, if we are here, how we can recognize that the new word has started? Any white space or not? If it is, then the new character, a new word has started. If a both condition meet or both conditions is satisfied, it means new segment has started. From here, we will increment in a count. Okay, so let's try to implement on the example number 1. Firstly, we will see and starting from here. I started from 0. I is 0 and s of I is age. Since it's a first character and we increment in a count 1, as I mentioned earlier, it should be not a space and it should be a first character. Then we will increment in a count. But in the second iteration, okay, if condition satisfied, go back to the for loop. Now I is E. I is E. It's not a space and the previous character was not a space. So there is no change in count. If condition not satisfied, go back to the for loop. Now I is L, which is 3. It's not a space. The previous character was not a space. Okay, and it's not started from first position. So no change in count. But if we are here, what should we do? I is 6 and s of I is, it is a space and the previous character was non-space. So we increment in account 2. Why we should increment in account 2? Because we can see there is a space. And if there is a space and the previous element is a non-space character, that means new word has started. Okay, if we jump on this m, I is 7 and s of I is m, it's not a space and the previous character was a space, so we increment an account. We can see here s of I minus 1, the previous character should be equal to space. So here we are here and the previous character is space. That means new word has started from here. So what should we do here? We just increment an counter. Okay. So the final count will be 5, which is the correct output. And yes, it is working. It accepted all the test cases. Now it's time to discuss the time and space complexity of this code. This time complexity of this implementation is of n because we are iterating and we are checking it one by one from the for loop. So the time complexity is of n. The space complexity is O of n. Why it's O of n? Because the algorithm uses a constant amount of extra space, regardless of input size. Let's try to run it, right? So we just submitted it. That's awesome. So it beats 84.98%. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you learned from it, just like and subscribe to my channel and share with your friends. and keep watching for more coding tutorials.